As always, I am here to unleash your full potential. And today I want to talk about catastrophizing. So we just got back from a long road trip. We drove from Oklahoma to Ohio for a family wedding, had an incredible time with our family. But on the way back, I started to notice something that I was doing. And anytime I take a long road trip, I kind of do this. What happened was I heard a noise on the front of the vehicle on our van, our family van, and I thought something was the matter. And I started worrying about it more and more. And I even woke up my wife and said, hey, what is the deal with this hood? I feel like the hood is kind of like raising a little bit on the vehicle. And I was really disturbed by this. So I had her take a look at it. She's like, no, Josh, don't worry about it. Everything is fine. And so I keep watching it. And then after a while, I noticed that it's actually ice on the underside of the hood that's kind of flying off. And every time it comes off, it looks like the hood is popping up. Well, what I was doing was I noticed an issue or a problem or a possible problem, and I started creating a narrative around that problem. And then the problem started to grow in my mind. Was there a problem? No. Was there a possible problem? I don't even know if there was a possible problem. But in my mind, I had created this big problem, and it kept growing and growing and growing. And really at the core, that is what catastrophizing is. And we all have a tendency to do it at times. Maybe for you, it's with your boss. Maybe your boss doesn't look at you quite the same one day as he does normally, and you start writing a narrative in your head that you're gonna get fired, that you're worried about your job, that apparently now he doesn't like you, and we can all do this. Maybe for you it's with your spouse or with a child, and maybe they say something to you and they don't mean anything by it, but in your head you start mulling it over throughout the day, and it becomes a bigger and bigger problem in your mind. I know I have a tendency to do it, and so I'm sure you do too. There are times in our life that those problems we can make greater than they actually are. And what it does then is number one, it causes us to worry and keep that mind going at times when we should be thinking about other things and creating and making a difference in our day, but instead we're worried about that problem and we're making it into a bigger problem. So this can also almost create problems at times. I've seen it in my life where I thought my boss was upset about something because of a word or a look that he gave me, and then all of a sudden I become defensive, so that when we do have a conversation, it actually explodes because I was on the defensive already. And so what I found with catastrophizing is not only is it a waste of time and thought, but it's also can be damaging and end up being a self-fulfilling prophecy. There wasn't a problem to start with, but we thought there was a problem, and once we have that narrative in our head, we actually create a problem. And that's the irony of catastrophizing. So maybe you've noticed it in your life and you want to solve this. Well, I have 3 ways that I think have helped me kind of take these thoughts into captive and realize that I need more peace when it comes to these issues. And so one of the things that you can do to start with is just be aware when these thoughts start arising. I don't think I realized sometimes how much time I was spending thinking about and creating these problems until I started noticing them. And then when I started noticing it, I was able to kind of cut it off before it got worse. There's that initial catastrophizing, and of course it's just a downward cycle of worry and fear. And if we can cut it off sooner rather than later, we'll waste less time and have less fear in our life. So that's the first thing I would say, is just be aware and then start to cut it off. And you say, well, it's really difficult for me to cut it off because it's kind of a loop in my brain that not even aware of sometimes. Well, I would encourage you just to either take some time to meditate. Some people like that, and that's not just sitting in your office with your legs crossed and humming. That is just a moment in time where you can say, take a deep breath, think clearly and deeply, and be able to take that thought into captive. And so meditating can be a great practice. If you're a Christian, a believer, you can take a moment to pray and pray to God about that thing, and usually that will get you out of that loop. Let me encourage you to do that if that's something that you practice. And then the other thing I would say is just just stop, right? Just like stop, full stop, go, hey, I'm not gonna do that again, and start to notice it and just stop that thinking, because it will truly damage your life and not allow you to reach your full potential in relationships and obviously with your creativity and the work that you're doing. So let me encourage you to notice when you're having these catastrophizing thoughts. Do something. Put a stop in place where you can either meditate, pray, or just flat out stop. And that will truly help you as you're noticing this catastrophizing. The last thing I would say is when we catastrophize, we are creating that negative loop in our head. And like I mentioned before, it's creating that fear cycle. So many times, if you truly are worried about something and there is a real issue, confront it as soon as possible. My equation for helping eliminate fear in my life, or to solve fear, any type, is to take action. So maybe there is a problem there and you need to confront that problem. The sooner you go and have a conversation with your boss, for example, or your partner or your child, you're able to stop that loop, that fear loop, sooner rather than later. And so take action when you need to. Be aware of those catastrophizing thoughts, but then if there is an issue, and sometimes there will be, have that direct conversation and take action, and that will crush the fear and allow you to get back to your creativity and truly reach your full potential. So hopefully this has helped you today. I know realizing it in my life has made a huge difference, and I hope it helps you too. And thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Share with a friend that might enjoy these encouraging words.